lot of skincare products as well. And we will share with you the demo reel that we just did with her. And what we love so much about it is that it's cruelty free. It's made in the US. It's clean ingredients and vegan. So what's not to like? Something that's absolutely amazing for your skin, as well as a wonderful female woman owned business and her grandfather. So there's a veteran twist to the story. So let's begin with you. Share your story, and especially about growing up with a veteran. That's a big deal. So I want to hear all about that story. All right, so over to you.
Thanks, Elizabeth, so much. So if we're starting there, so my grandfather was at that age where he, first of all, they could lie about their age back then, right? There was no Google, there was no way to trace them. So he wanted to go fight at the end of World War II. He had turned 16. So his father went ahead and forged the signature that he was 18. So my grandfather entered the Navy at the end of World War II. He fought for 2 years there, came home, all of the Korean War he was in, and then the beginning of Vietnam. So he saw three wars. Three wars. So when I came along, my grandparents raised me, and he imagine he was getting ready to retire. I was born in 72, and then in 76 this little girl, his granddaughter needs a place to be. So they stepped up, and it was interesting growing up in that environment because we weren't moving all the time. Like my uncles had to move all the time, right? But he obviously had seen some things, and as a child you don't pick up on those nuances. So as a teenager, we would sit, we'd talk after we did our chore. I had chores. We had a farm, a working farm. So, yeah, there was no downtime or screen time for for me as a child. It was, he ran our household like a military base, really. And to this day, I just don't make my bed. I will throw the covers over it because he would come check my corners like for the tuck. And I was like, when I grow up, I am not making my bed. And to this day, I'm 53 now. I have kept that promise. Um, but yeah, it was, look, he had come through so much, and then to show me so much love and grace and to stay on me about my grades. I mean, he cared about so much, my education, you have to have your education because no one can take that away from you. You need to depend on your brain and nothing else in life. He was just very, very, this is the way that it is. And it shaped, he was a big force in my life. So my grandmother, my great grandmother is a multi-generational household that I grew up in. They were the cooks. So they were from Sicily straight out. My grandfather had been adopted by a German couple, hence that's where the roost comes from. But there's no one German in my family that I know of other than my, the adopted grandparents. But he, yeah, I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
Wow, that sounds like a great story. But now for you, because a lot of families talk about, growing up with military parents, or so how was that life for you? I mean, living in a hero's world, as they say. But you became your own hero in your own way as well. So tell us a little bit about your life. What was that like?
Yeah, I think that it just shapes you and it depends on the person, right? One of my friends growing up, her father had also been in the Navy and he had had a lot of mental health issues. So that was a far different experience for her than, for me, someone who was, as I said, mellowing out with retirement, went to the VFW with him. Even as a kid, you're not supposed to be able to go in there, but my bus driver for my grade school was one of his friends at the VFW. So it was funny. And my grandfather's cousins were respectively back then the fire chief and the chief of police. So if you thought that I could get away with anything that my friends could get away from, someone was always watching. The town that I grew up in was fairly small back then. Now it's booming like every other middle town in America. But I think that what I can say is that it definitely shaped my focus and my want to do a good job and to make things or do the best that I could in anything, whether it was school. And he was on me about my grades. So there was no bringing home C's. There was no bringing home C's. He said, I know what you're capable of, and you can get straight A's. And that's a lot of pressure on a child. But when I look back, I see that that's just how he was. But I was very fortunate because, there was no abuse. And I hear a lot of that from other military family members that I talk to. But it did give me that spirit of also making sure that, my husband and I donate to Wounded Warriors. We donate across, Green Drop. We make sure all of our clothing goes to veteran services. So I think that that's, what really shaped me is that attention to detail. Everything had to be just so. And basically just to, do the very best that you can in anything that you start in life.
Yeah, I think that is so important. Um, yeah, you don't see that with the younger generation. We all grew up with so much discipline and values and what's right and what's wrong. And well, we'll have to see how this new free world works itself out. But let's talk about Eon, and it's a new name,
Oh,
and it's gonna
Eonian. Eon,
Eonian. I keep
Eon.
pronouncing it wrong. I apologize.
Okay.
Eonian. So tell us a little bit about that, and you're solving a problem. So tell us. Let's start with the problem. What did you see that you needed to found this company and this product line?
That's a great question. And it started very selfishly, I will tell you, because I was not looking to start a company. So I spent 26 years in corporate. So happily plugging along in my corporate job. And at the time that I started experiencing these weird skin challenges, a rash, little red bumps that weren't acne. So I would do a drive-by of the derm and say, fix this because I have to get up on stage. And at the time I was speaking a lot. So it's embarrassing, right? You go from having really good skin to what? And I didn't change up my skincare routine. I always used professional products recommended by my esthetician. Um, and I couldn't figure it out. Now, I was about 42, 43 when this happened. So immediately everyone jumped to hormones and they're like, oh, it's just your hormones. So I had my hormones checked and it wasn't my hormones. So I'm like, what is happening? So after digging into some clinical research, I used to work in pharmaceuticals, and one of my first jobs was to learn how to break clinical trials down into easily consumable language by consumers. And I thought, well, wait a second. This study says that our skin barrier, what's the skin? Like, no one was talking about the skin barrier back 10 years ago in the industry. No one, maybe some dermatologists. But if you look back at now, it's everywhere. Now it's on TikTok and it's everywhere because, they figured it out. But back then, I had no idea that by using a very strong retinol that was prescribed to me, I actually stripped and damaged my skin barrier so bad that my defenses were down. So any kind of, think about that, any bacteria, anything I was putting on my face was just making it worse. And my skin was reacting like, stop torturing me. Right. So that was, 8 years of kind of looking into ingredients. And then my poor husband, I was ordering raw materials and kind of mixing them at my house when I had time on the weekends, and it was a mess. So finally he said, look, why don't you just get a chemist and see if you can make something of this mess? Because he's also 10 years older than me and I always bought his skincare for him. So he said, maybe, you'll find something really good. And after about a year of working with a chemist, we really landed on a vision that I had of give me one product that still can give the cell turnover but is nourishing instead of retinol. I'm meeting so many people, like I can't use it even in its most gentle form. And I'm not alone. So I meet people, I get messages, DMs on Instagram all the time of, hey, why are my cheeks so red? My doctor thinks I have rosacea, but I never had it before I started using this one product. So I'll break down their product for them and say, oh my goodness, it has a very high percentage, even though it's over the counter. So retinoids can only be prescribed by a derm, but retinol is the over-the-counter version. The problem is there's no regulation. So you could be getting something like, for instance, in my products, we do use a little glycolic and lactic acid to keep those cells because your cell turnover slows. But we encapsulated it, meaning that we put it into not microspheres, but basically chemists can time the release, similar to pharmaceuticals, of the formula on your face. So let's say you rub this on and it does a time release over the night, the nighttime product and the daytime product, which isn't anything, believe it or not. I mean, there's a million products on the market like that, but we were titrating it so specifically to make sure that people got efficacy that they could enjoy, that they would like the way their skin looked and felt. But at the end of the day, I just want people to have healthy skin. Oh, you're on mute. Elizabeth, you're on mute.
Yeah,
Mm.
the phones were ringing, so I was trying to move mute. So yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head because when you are young, you're blessed with great skin, and sometimes young kids also have skin issues. So this product is versatile. But you're right. As you get older, you start seeing changes in your skin, and you start realizing that your body is like screaming, "Get help!" And so this product from Eoni is perfect for someone who has no time, just 2 drops a day. I think that sounds like amazing skin routine. And if you think my skin is glowing, I just put some on.
There you go.
So I think that definitely, and it felt so good. It didn't feel intrusive or harsh, and it's just beautiful. My skin is actually just rejoicing right now. So I think that was great. So what was so you did talk a little bit about the mess and everything, but what were some of the challenges you faced, and what are some of the victories that you faced even today with the brand?
I think for every small business owner that's watching this, that's bootstrapping, that is our number one challenge, right? Because for a lot of the small business grants, you
Yes,
have to show about $200,000 in revenue. Well, from 0 to 200,000 could take years. So
yes,
what do you do in the interim? You know, everyone sees the success stories, especially in beauty,
yes,
on TikTok. Oh, my product went viral and I sold out overnight. Okay, that's like 1 in 100,000
yes,
products that hit that, that viral mark. And it is because most of my products are for over 40 people, and men especially, they won't buy for themselves, right? But going into this, I had a test group of men and women over 40, soccer moms and dads. My son played soccer at the time, so I just grabbed whoever I could, friends, family, and said, try this, test this. But I would not give the product out. Probably I was using it for 7 months. And my friends are like, okay, because they always came to me for recommendations. Your skin looks amazing. What are you using? And I'm like, oh, it's kind of like my stuff. And they're like, what do you mean your stuff? So people started asking for samples. And then I said, "Can you be in the test group for this?" Because then my brain started whirling like, "Hey, you're going to be 50. You might want to think about turning this into a small business because you get exhausted with corporate. It's hard. You travel a lot. It's 12, 14-hour days. I had a team. My last team was around the world. So my time, I could be on the phone till 11 with the Asia Pacific team and back up at 6 a.m. with the other team in the UK. So, it's that. But when I saw that people were happy and they were getting compliments and they said, I can smile. I mean, some people were actually saying their skin always felt tight no matter the product they were using, no matter how much money they spent. They weren't happy. They had to wear makeup. And that's a real thing for some women who are like, I would love to just wake up in the morning, put a little eye concealer on because we all get those dark rings around our eyes as we get older, and put mascara on and leave. And I'm like, well, wouldn't that be a dream? Because there was never a day with
yes,
all of the money that I spent. And all of the skincare that I use, there was never a day that I woke up that I felt comfortable tapping a little concealer on and going. And I didn't realize the correlation was my skincare wasn't actually doing what it said it was going to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
very true. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the challenges are basically funding is always a challenge. I was very fortunate that I was in communications and marketing for all my career. So as far as building the website, Shopify makes it easy. I knew what had to be done for Meta, for advertising. The challenge comes in though that it was never my full-time job. So learning direct to consumer because I was B2B, that has been a huge challenge because you think you can look at like there are some groups on Reddit that have 1 million people in skincare. So you can sit and talk to them and read about them. But generally, you think because people will complain about, well, these companies are lying, yet they will still buy the false claim product before they'll buy healthy skin.
I know
So
that always that shocks me all the time, even with YouTubers, and they'll always downplay the good brands, and then they'll promote the wrong ones. But that's life. We live in this strange world of money. So where is this product available? How can people get their hands on it? And I know you mentioned it's on Amazon, and since we are Amazon influencers and Amazon associates, definitely, I already have it on my store as well. So
thank you.
if you want to purchase it or write a review, it is available to all of you who love Amazon so much. So yeah, so tell us, where is the product available and how can people get some of it?
So right now we are available on Amazon. We are available on eonianskincare.com, and that's our site. We have a few wholesale relationships, but they're like small spas out
Yeah,
on the West. So right now that doesn't matter, but we are continuing. There is a product, the Supreme Recovery Cream. And that is actually one of the things that I'll mention to you as highlights as a new brand. So I created that. That is another custom product because I get microneedling with PRP. And I think it is the fountain of youth. If there is any treatment out there and anyone is going to spend money, I would say that that's worth the money. And I've had laser treatments. I'm afraid of chemical peels. That's just me. I'm a chicken. Um, so I could not find anything. All the aftercare products have petroleum or dimethicone in them, which are occlusives, which is great. They figure your skin has been, like hamburger meat. We're just going to lay this over there. But to me, every time I'd use that, I'd get a breakout, but my skin felt dry and tight. And it's because my skin wasn't absorbing anything. So I'm like, well, what if I can come up with a recovery cream that feeds the skin? And that was when I really went deep down with a different chemist who was from Korea. And I said, look, Koreans are known for their amazing
yeah, they are.
skincare. And I've been reading a lot about the microbiome and healing, and pro and prebiotics are the next chapter. They will be the next big thing. And you're already seeing that because what they do is very special. They feed the microbiome of your face. And what's really interesting, Elizabeth, is that the microbiome on your nose is completely different than your cheeks, than your body. It's just fascinating.
Yeah,
So we made the Supreme Recovery Cream. That is, if you were to say the cleanest, I mean, it is just as clean as the serum that I sent you. And the formulation was done very.
that one too. Yeah,
Oh, and that is a very clean men's product. And the funny thing is, young women love the Surge now, but none of the women in my test group because they were afraid like the mint. So who knew? But young women do like that. But
yeah.
that is another probiotic product, the Surge. So, but with the Supreme Recovery Cream, we went in, I had some estheticians test it with their patients for microneedling. So that's where the spa wholesale came in. But then what was very interesting to me is that two things. One, I had some gentlemen with rosacea, and I thought, well, here, try this. I don't know. It helped. I'm not saying it cured them, but it took the redness out, and they're so happy that they can use that. And the second was it's so gentle that I had a friend's daughter who was pregnant, and she's like, "Oh my God, my doctor said I can't use my skincare because it has retinol. They're not allowed to use vitamin A when they're pregnant, right? They don't like them to use a high percentage of any kind of acids. And the recovery cream has no actives in it. It's just pro and prebiotics, arnica. Like if you think about all those healing things that even you and I knew about as children, we basically made this very clean, nurturing formula. And the for microneedling, and I have the videos on my Instagram if anyone's interested, 2 days. Because I was on camera a lot, so I'd get the microneedling, and you have those little bloody dots everywhere, and you're real red like your sunburn. 48 hours now.
Wow.
If you start applying the recovery cream at 72 hours, you're complete. No one would ever know you had microneedling, which
Yes.
is crazy because it used to take me 7 days to get rid of the redness and the pinpricks. And now I can get it down to 3. So, that's really, really interesting. But also cancer patients. And I wasn't even thinking about cancer patients when I made this, but I've lost 2 family members to cancer. And my grandfather unfortunately did get lung cancer from the asbestos in the Navy ships, right? But I thought about when he was undergoing treatment, how awful and dry, and the doctor's like, you can't really use anything. Even back then, they were like, there's really nothing to do. Just put Vaseline on your, which is the worst thing you could do. But I met a woman who is an esthetician, oncology esthetician. And she said, I need to try this because I looked at she knows her ingredients. So right now, we are looking forward to that. And then we were also mentioned in the Cancer Bites podcast because the founder is a stage 4 breast cancer survivor.
Wow.
And I sent her the product to try. And she said, I couldn't believe it, Danielle. I had a rash pop up right when your product got here. I put it on, it soothed it immediately. And by the next day, it was already clearing up. So I'm not making those claims that it's some magical thing. I'm very proud of the formulation and whoever it can help. That's, again, that just goes with the ethos of my brand. I'm not chasing wrinkles. I'm not trying to make you so much younger. I don't make any claims about that. But what I've proven, the point is you can spend a lot less, you can have better formulated products. And if you are so inclined to spend, you could spend your money on microneedling, or if you wanted laser treatment, whatever. So I think I think that's just makes me happy. And that's a really, really big victory for the brand, is seeing people being helped outside of the original intended audience. You're muted.
On the show is that we don't want you to go and try the product, and we're not making any claims because each person has a different experience. And what Danielle has just shared with you is what people have come back and given her feedback. And so we just want to make clear, not that we're making that disclaimer, but it is true that when you have such a lovely product that's so clean, and you've taken such great care to make sure that you've covered a lot of areas. Even to get those certifications is a big process. So I applaud you for being a woman-owned business and for coming up with such a beautiful product, and really check it out. Make sure you get it, get a couple, give some away, and we'll be giving a prize announcement if you are in the studio attending between November and December. So you just have to attend one show to be entered into the drawing as well. So thank you so much for sending us the product, and some for our audience as well.
Yes.
You're watching Discover Brightside, and you let us know what you think and write her a review. And it doesn't cost you anything to go on Facebook or LinkedIn. Amazon has guidelines. If you qualify, you could write a review there as well. And if you want to learn how to write reviews, just DM me and I'll send you some instructions and my ebook as well. So thank you for watching Discover Brightside.